Hey, this is GatorEX, and welcome. We're doing a podcast. I wanted to do something special for members monthly, and so this is what we're doing. A little backstory. We actually had some kind of little dumb podcast. I say some kind of, but it was just straight up like the GatorEX podcast. Nobody watched it. I was going back. I was checking out some of those old videos. They had like maybe 40 views. So now for members, it's basically just going to be the same size audience, but just more something extra. That was like 2019. The start of 2019, we started that. So how that one worked, I think I'm basically just going to reboot that and bring that back. So obviously I'm GatorEX, joined by two of my friends. Go ahead, introduce yourselves, whatever moniker you want to be called.
I'm Temporary Bait, or just Bait, because I'm in the can.
And I'm Kay. So yeah.
Yeah, so again, these are just my real life friends. We're all good, cool buddies, and that's how the old podcast was. So yeah, next week, hey, guess what? It's Pokemon Legends Arceus' 2-year anniversary. So that's just kind of what I want to chat about, and especially too because, Legends Arceus, great game, and I think it came out like at a great time, like for me personally too. Because that year, 2022, I started the year off. I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a good year. Legends Arceus came out in January. Mm-hmm. And, that was one of the games that we all kind of like played alongside each other. Mm-hmm. And so that's also kind of one thing that made it kind of special to me because, I had gotten it, you had gotten it, and I had like an extra copy because I bought the game multiple times to get a bunch of pre-order bonuses.
Mm-hmm. And it's ironic because it's the first non-multiplayer Pokemon game, and it's the first one we all played at the same time. So it was a cool experience. There we go.
I think it's also funny that we played it like actually at the same pace too, because when Sun and Moon and then Sword and Shield and then Scarlet and Violet came out, all those I kind of took it at a slower pace because during those years I was still, Pokemon hasn't really interested in me that much, so I'm just going to take my time, play for a couple hours and then stop. And then you two were just either bum rushing through all the way or actually playing it on a daily basis. So whenever we'd all talk to each other about what we progressed, I'd just be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It wasn't my fault the gym leaders talk smack, okay? That's on them,
It was all the wardens.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. I wanted to go to Hawaii. Let's go.
But, for Sun and Moon or?
Well, for you. Because I played Sun and Moon. I don't think I played Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
I was thinking, but previous to that, I had every Pokemon game. So, well, I started in Soul Silver. But yeah.
So Legends Arceus was like the first in a while you had played.
Yeah. And it was kind of ironic because I've always wanted to play Diamond and Pearl, but I never did. So, hey, you got Diamond and Pearl, but in the past.
But yeah, the sequel, prequel.
It was a nice shock for me since Diamond and Pearl was my entry, buying it bootleg from my cousin. Or not bootleg, it was his copy, but it had an issue with the cartridge where every time you would put it into the DS, it was a 50-50 shot if it would even work. Mm-hmm. So then it was like, I want to play Pokemon now, and then 50-50 every single time. If you put it in your pocket, if you're traveling somewhere, it wouldn't really work. But it was my entrance, it was fun, and that's how I actually met you guys. When it was like, you guys kicked my ass a lot. I failed miserably, and then that made me get angry. Hey, how do I beat you guys? The internet was horrible. So I would have to literally go up to you and ask, hey, a funny thing, if I wanted to get good at the game and maybe have a pseudo-competitive edge, like theoretically, if I wanted to beat you guys in a battle, not saying I do, how would I go about doing that? And then we just kind of flew off from there.
Back then, even I said, because I started with the Mexican version of Fire Red, and it did not save, so I had to beat the whole game in one run. But even back then...
So you did? You played?
Yeah, I beat the whole thing in one run. But sticking... Not my best move, but that was me being, a 12-year-old punk. But sticking... I always had a thing about, I want a pure fire team with only fire attacks. There was a friend who had a Ninetales with fireproof or fire flame, whatever.
Flash fire.
So, all my attacks were, and she just looked at me with so much pity in her eyes, and I was just like...
I ran off Rule of Cool. Rule of Cool demanded that I just choose the ones that look the edgiest or the hardest hitting because it naturally has armor. Of course, if it has armor, why was it not that defendable? No one told me that having a defense stats was the thing. So you could theoretically have a really well-armored Pokemon only for its defense to be so low it dies to a breeze.
I mean, I kind of just did the same thing too. But it's like, you can be good enough with the Pokemon you get. I think because... it was Black and White, right? Yeah. Oh gosh, this is kind of a tangent thing. I have just random video from my iPad, the old school iPad, and it's us just messing around on Pokemon Black White, like Gen 5 game. I'll show you that video in a bit. But yeah, I'm trying to think what did I even use in Black and White. Yeah, no, same thing. I'm just using like all the cool Pokemon. But I guess like for me, in that sense, it's like, yeah, I like the big old dragons, and the big old dragons were typically like really good. So there's that. Yeah. But yeah, Legends Arceus was like a really interesting one too. I think especially because like. Yeah, the gameplay was just straight up different. And me having playing basically every Pokemon game, and especially like since 2016, that was obviously when I started making videos, right? So it was very much so play every Pokemon game, or play it completely, and then like kind of not pick it apart, but dive into it, right? Like, hey, let's look into this thing, that thing, because then that produces videos and so on. So I think with Legends Arceus, I realized something like really important about it too more recently, because say also I live stream every Friday night, Friday, and a few times I've actually replayed Legends Arceus, and I would do like a little kind of a challenge run, or using only this type, and I would only play on stream so that I could have like all the progress tracked in the stream. And I realized something really important the last time I played it. I'm like, I don't think I like playing this as a stream game, like with a dedicated, like, okay, I need to play this while it's being recorded, and I need to maybe finish it in like a decent amount of time, or else it'll just go on for like 2 months. And that kind of made me realize, like, thinking back to like the original time, the first time I played Legends Arceus, like, I think a big thing is that it really kind of incentivized just doing whatever you want. I mean, yeah, still, there was still a goal, and eventually you were supposed to catch every Pokemon. That's kind of the end game thing, and encounter Arceus at the very end. But I think there was much more, again, incentive to let you just run around and do whatever you want, like catch Pokemon as much as you want, however you want. Yeah. And that kind of really was interesting too, because I'm thinking like back of like that era that again, January 2022, 2 years ago. I'm like, yeah, because January is kind of like a weird time for a game to release, like a big game like this to release, but it was still kind of that, like, it kind of made me feel like hey, there's the brand new year, let's dive right into it. But immediately just playing it, and again, oh gosh, the soundtrack for that game, just absolutely gorgeous. It really kind of made me feel like, even though I was still kind of playing it like at a reasonably quick pace, and again, you guys were all also playing, so it's like we all had to kind of play, but it still felt like I really, really got to enjoy my time with it. That game, like more so than other games that I played, other Pokemon games I played recently.
Have you ever played the Colosseums?
I a long time ago. I need to go back eventually and like actually play them.
Since Diamond and Pearl, I've played every single Pokemon game I could. One, to keep up with you guys, because it was still the childhood mentality of, this is the things my friends play. I want to hang out and talk to my friends. And if I ever stop, I feel like we'd lose something to talk about. So I need to keep up. And another part of it was, again, just the hook of, yeah, this is fun. But I think that was my issue, because after playing so many of them, eventually I kind of got tired of it, because I was like, okay, I've kind of seen this whole show before. And again, it was just restricted in some, especially because during the X and Y and Sun and Moon era, I did feel more constricted. I did feel like I'm not really going the places I want to go. I'm not doing the Skyrim thing of seeing a mountain and climbing the mountain. It is, I see the mountain, I am told about the mountain, and then I have to sit through several cutscenes and dialogue trees and railroaded into eventually going to that mountain, but not being able to do anything. And then eventually it came a point where I would actively not really enjoy Pokemon. I'd play it, but then I just do slower and slower runs. So when Arceus came out and people were talking about it, it's like, there's no way they could have added all of that. If they were going to add that, they would have added it years ago to keep it going. There's no way they could compete with the dream. And then I played it, and it was a dream I didn't want to wake up from, because it was like, oh no, I'm in the grass, but I'm not doing anything. It is the joke of, I am in the grass, and I just want to stay here in the grass because everything looks so pretty. And only every occasionally when it's like, shiny, mine, and then hide back in the muck.
I love that too, that like shinies were more common in this game.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I got the most shinies in this game. Have you?
Yeah, that's the second Pokemon I ever caught. It was a shiny Shinx.
Oh, nice.
But thinking, no, the moment I knew that this game was gonna be different was when it goes like, "Hey, catch a Pidgey," and it goes like, "You catch it," and it goes like, "Okay, 1 out of 20." I'm like, "Wait, you want to catch 20 Pidgeys?" It's like, yeah, not that many, but it's
Starlight.
Yeah, Starlight, whatever they call it. But thinking the bird, they're all the same thing to me. But thinking, but it goes like, "Oh, we're actually an investigation team right here. We're not just Pokemon trainers. We're survey scouts, whatever it is."
I'm not just catching 20 Starly for the purpose of one of them will have a higher stat than the other, so that is the one I'm going to use. It is, I'm catching 20 because someone else is using it and I'm just getting paid for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're catching 20 because you need to like properly research it.
Exactly. And I love that kind of immersion or storytelling that goes. And it's a lot different than everything else because, like, in any other Pokemon game, I would have just gone, like, "Hey, give me the dark type," or "Give me the one I want," or, I don't really care. But then here it was like, I'm doing a job, and I'm going to do my job well.
Yeah.
So, like, the moment when you see us thinking a boss Pokemon, what are they called?
Alphas.
And the alpha Pokemon, you go, like, square up, even though I'm under leveled and everything. But you're still going to square up because it's your job.
It is also, like, even under leveled, you still have a chance. Because you will run into those walls in the older Pokemon. So even here, the wall is still there. But rather than being so high you can't climb over it, it is, I can scale it one bit at a time. And eventually I will wear down that wall. Rather than just, oh, hey, you're 5 levels too low for this one kid. Guess you gotta go run around.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, because right off the bat, you can like encounter like a level 40 Rapidash or something.
Yes.
And it's not even, it doesn't even railroad you or anything or say like, "Oh, you shouldn't do this. It's, you shouldn't have, you shouldn't like battle this big Pokemon here, or you shouldn't go this way. They're strong Pokemon." It's like, no, it lets you find out the hard way.
It's cool because it's the whole thing of like, yeah, people don't find out, but it feels like you're in the wilderness for the first time. You're not in the city with your background park right here. It's you're in the wild with the thing that could most likely kill you.
Yeah. And unlike the Xenoblade 2, which I played, and Z3, where you will go around being like, I'm level 20, I'm fighting a bunch of level 20 monsters, the same. Level 21, I can handle that. Maybe 2 levels higher than me, cool. And then there's level 60. He's just there. He just decides to, hey, I'm going to fight you, and then you lose, and then you just reset back. That felt unfair. So here, having here's a level 40 amongst a bunch of level 15s, but at least he's docile. You know he's there. He knows you're there. It's just, you just don't get too close to him, and he'll leave you alone. But if he wanted to, he could step on over and could cause problems.
It's the logic with bears. You're like, okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Well, I mean, not that you would like purposely go fight a bear if you were strong enough, but
don't tell me what to do on the weekends.
But it also goes to the fact that like, hey, if you see an alpha Pidgey, you're gonna be like, I could take that, But then if you see an alpha Snorlax, you go like, okay, I'm gonna walk away from that.
Not to discourage Pidgey users. They are very useful. They are very scary.
Pidgey's not in this game.
Have you ever fought a pigeon?
Yeah,
I have. It's not fun.
No, the pigeons can like they use their wing as a whip to like smack you.
The Pidgeys are Starlight.
Starly's
There's Starly's here, but
Legends
birds are birds.
Okay, Murkrows and Honchkrows.
Same thing.
Staraptor gets a pass because he has a cool hat.
But no, Honchkrow has a hat.
Honchkrow has a hat. Staraptor has a hat in the shape of a blade.
No, that's its hair.
That's its crest?
That's its edgy boy hair.
And if you put enough gel onto hair, it becomes a hat. It becomes an accessory.
No.
Yes.
But yeah, and then thinking, it's also the thing about just riding around and you could like hit stuff to get berries and all that stuff, like the collecting of it. It's like you never really see that, and I never really thought it was gonna be that convenient to just just ride over it kind of thing.
You thought it would be okay. It's a sudden move. There's a tree. You got to shake down the tree for every single plant, and you get 1 berry per each shake. So that's all takes you time. Here, not just hit the tree. You get it automatically. You want to knock out that Pokemon? Do it.
It like that kind of experience. I really wish that you could throw Pokeballs while riding Weirdeer, because then it would have been near like. I say about Legends Arceus, it's like I love it and I talk really highly about it. But I'm like, I don't know if I would say it's my favorite because there's a lot of things that definitely it's missing. For sure, it's one of the best single player experiences I've had in a Pokemon game, like ever. But the thing is that I can't I can't hop online and battle. I can't, or no, yeah, you can't battle your friends even. Yeah,
No.
you can only trade friends. Yeah, that's the only interaction. So I don't like that. I can't battle my friends. I don't like that. There's no there's extra stuff to do after you complete the main story, but it just it does, and I get that because they were saying, hey, we want this to be this kind of experience. It's a single player experience, and the VGC tournaments are still going to be in like Sword Shield.
Right.
So I think that's one thing that kind of holds it back.
Do you want to split this between a good, the bad, and the so-so, or would you rather everything be right here when we think of it?
Oh, well, yeah, just say whatever, whenever. But it's like, so it's, I definitely don't want to be, because I feel like sometimes some people maybe get the idea of like, oh man, yeah, Legends Arceus is the best Pokemon game. Oh, the only good Pokemon game now. Everything else terrible. It's like, well, it doesn't have,
it's good for what it is.
It is great and very nostalgic too. And, I put it this way. I love it. And again, one of my favorite experiences playing a Pokemon game. Would I recommend it? I would not ever recommend it as somebody's very first Pokemon game.
Fair.
Because I feel like it's enhanced by knowing the tropes and the gameplay and, maybe some of the characters and lore from previous Pokemon games. Weirdly enough, as much as people will hate on Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, in all honesty, that might be the number one recommendation of like, hey, I want to get into Pokemon. Oh, play BDSP.
Really? Okay.
And then, because then playing BDSP, then you can go into Legends Arceus. Because BDSP very traditional, to its detriment sometimes. But Sword and Shield, I think is like, okay, just in general, if it's ever like, oh, I want to play Pokemon, what's the first game I should play? Pick any of them. Pick whatever one is on the Switch right now, except Legends Arceus. Because that one, like I said, it's enhanced by how it remixes things, how it flips things on its head.
I would say yes to BDSP. I don't like saying that acronym. I'm just going to choose a diamond. Or Brilliant Diamond.
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
I don't, because then I'd still make you sad we don't have a platinum. I know we don't need a platinum in this day and age anymore.
Radiant. No, we do.
We do?
That's hang on, side tangent. That's the problem with BDSP is that it's not a remake of Platinum, it's a remake of Diamond and Pearl. Platinum changed a lot and fixed a lot from Diamond and Pearl. And that's what most people's like main gripe with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl is that it didn't use the new enhanced version. It used the old one instead. Yeah. So it's missing out. It's missing a lot of like what kind of improved it.
And hence why I get upset. But at least for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I think they are good to if you are going to start out and then eventually go into Legends Arceus because again you're dealing with the same Pokemon, you're dealing with similar characters to other parallels. But even if you didn't get into Arceus, it works as your hey, here are these chibi forms, here's the formula of where you're going to go and everything. So it does work like that.
It's Legends Arceus being basically a prequel. I liken it to Star Wars. Yeah. I don't think anyone should watch the prequel movies first in Star Wars. Watch the original trilogy, then the prequels. Yeah. Your experience is enhanced.
And then even then, I would say play at least another Pokemon game or two if you want to. Play a Sun and Moon, play Sword and Shield, play Violet. If you want to play Ultra, you can.
If you have the... I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, Gen 5's the only good one. But if you ever have the money, if you have a DS and you have the means of paying $100 for a 10-year-old game, black and white. Just the number one recommendation, just play black and white. If you can drop $200, 100 for the console, 100 for the game.
Yeah. No, I would just say play at least two of them because again, you do kind of want to have the tropes, the ins and out, how to. Obviously, battling is not easy, but it's also not difficult. But at least get the hang of it of when you're going to be using moves and all of that. Just get an idea of everything that's going to go into this game so you know the franchise. So when you finally do play Legends Arceus, the entire version of, hey, you can move freely in a full 360 environment. Everything is going to be facing you. Facing battles is different. You don't even need to battle everything, just catch them for most of them. Well, make you just go, oh, wow, I did not expect that.
I love that so much. I love that the battle doesn't automatically start if I bump into a Pokemon. I love that I can just catch things without entering a battle.
Yeah. It is the equivalent of playing two different fighting games of Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat and then finding out there's a pinball version. Because, yes, you will love the fighting game, but then finding out that there is a fully copyrighted and licensed pinball game and you're just going, I never actually played pinball. What is this? Oh, wow, this is actually pretty neat. And just having the whole idea of just, It's like, this is new.
See, going through the whole games and everything, if you ever play one Pokemon game and then you play the next generation and you play the next generation, whenever you go back, that game's graphics looks a lot different than what you remember it, because a lot has changed since the previous iterations. And I think that's what definitely puts Arceus apart, because I feel like it's a love letter to all the previous Pokemon. Mm-hmm. It's the thing about, like, you see the Sinnoh's myths Pokemon to show up and everything, the characters that show up, and then you could physically go in and you could see any YouTuber, anything that's gonna, like, conspiracy theory tied together. You could see the origins of a Pokeball. You could see the origins of a chick here. You could see where this thing started, where this myth started, what, you know, everything's going here. And it just all ties together. So it really is a love letter to all the previous Pokemon.
Yeah. And in that same vein, it's like, you know, maybe I'll talk with people of like, oh, I haven't played a Pokemon game since, I don't know, Diamond and Pearl on the DS. Mm-hmm. That one is like, yes, 100%, that's my recommendation. Play Legends Arceus. Mm-hmm. You know, especially like for, you know, whatever person in their 20s or whatever, that's it. Mm-hmm. Definitively. That, like, the whole thing of like, oh man, I wish Pokemon would make games for older fans. They did. That was Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
Now, granted, was it I want to just still play Pokemon with the same formula, with the same top-down, with the same everything, just bring it in? They are working on it. It's just, again, they take their time with it. Or
at this point, again, weird side tangent, but at this point, honestly, we're at the point where you can move on to just any other indie game or any other, you know...
Password.
Yeah, no. You know, like what we got Cassette Beasts. What else? There's like Koromon. Just if you want like a more of a traditional but like remix, there's that. But on one hand, I kind of would like if like main Pokemon would do that, also would lean into that. Again, you know, with live streams, right? I always just go back to Sword and Shield because it's really linear and it's really it's pretty traditional, and there's some stuff that's like different, but it's sometimes I like just the all right, set me on the train tracks, let's go on the rails.
I remember one time you were saying about how like, oh, Pokemon, when people say Pokemon is easy, it's not necessarily that, hey, it's easy. It's that there's the avenue for competitive play, which is PvP. That's where it gets hard. You're thinking you start strategizing, making against other people, because there is strategy to this. Yeah. And it's the whole thing about, like, Arceus, it removes all that, but at the same time, it gives you the new aspect of, like, hey, explore this side. There's different avenues to explore here. It's like, good on Nintendo for trying it out, kind of thing.
I also feel like it works because since this is all single player, if they had tried putting in multiplayer, that would have required them to also consider again, with all multiplayer Pokemon, every Pokemon has to match up with one way or another. How would you handle their different stats? Because we are still doing how your defense, how your speed is going into it. How do you handle the heavy and light style of moves for a move order?
The turn order. The turn order is kind of crazy. It's like the way that it's specifically built is not... that would not work player to player. Yeah.
Because you're already going, all right, if I had a fast Pokemon and then I decided to use agility style, does that give me double speed, or is it I still get priority? In the same way that, like, I thought I was already going faster and then you suddenly pull agility on me. Would that make you faster than my arguably faster base stat Pokemon, or is it now we're equal and then it is a coin toss?
The thing is, too, with, like, the turn order... thing in Legends Arceus, it's really interesting. Like, you can't really outsmart the opponent or the NPC opponent, because it's not a traditional sense of like, okay, this turn both of you choose your moves, and then the faster Pokemon will go first, and then then it resolves and goes to the next turn.
Right.
With the turn order in Legends Arceus, the move is decided. The turn order, the move is decided right then and there.
Right.
So by the NPC. So it's like, oh hey, I got my Pokemon, let me switch out to something that's immune to the move they're probably going to use. No, they decide what move they're using when your other Pokemon is out there. It's a whole thing. But I think it was a good thing for the single player thing.
And again, because since they had to focus on solely just single player movement and mobility and fighting, if they tried saying that, then we could have eventually gotten multiplayer Pokemon, but then it would have, one, taken longer, and two, may have messed up something else, since that's all in the same system. So I think I'd rather have this one single focus on everything rather than trying to mix it all together, because then that means when they eventually do make would you say a second Legend Arceus, or would they go an entirely different
I've got complicated feelings because as much as I would just want another, like, oh yeah, Legends Kyurem, give us that. I feel like they're just, I mean, we got Pokemon Day next month, so maybe we'll get some announcement. But I feel like the next big deviation, I feel like is just going to be something completely different. Unfortunately, I feel like we just might never get another Legends game, a directly one. We might get another game that has like similar gameplay stuff, but look at it in the sense of like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Mm-hmm. That was a one-off thing. We're not getting Let's Go Johto or so on and so on. Legends Arceus, I think, was definitely a one-off kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I think the next game that's... Because I would consider Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Legends Arceus in the same kind of wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. Because they're deviations. Like, still the Pokemon formula, but still main series, but they're not core games. Mm-hmm. So I think that the next thing we get is going to be like... we can't predict the next thing. That's what I say. Mm-hmm. As much as I would love another one, I don't think we're getting another one.
Yeah, I don't
exactly the same.
Think that we're gonna get another one because the Survey Corp for the stinking what's it called the
Galaxy team.
Yeah, the Galaxy team was such a perfect excuse to do this in the past and everything else. It's like, why would you do that in the future where we have streamlined Pokeballs, a city, and everything else? But it's the whole thing about like, this is not the first time we did this. We had Pokemon Rangers, and that was a whole other thing of like a whole other style. Did we get another Pokemon Rangers game? It's like, I think we got 2.
We got 3.
We got 3. It's like, sure, you get another reason for it, but in this time, it's like, why would you need another Legends Arceus kind of thing?
Unless you just made the excuse, what if we just went to a different region and went with the different legends? But then it's just... Then you just did Arceus again. You just palette swapped.
And it goes to the thing of like, oh yes, give me the same thing, but again. Again. Again, do it again. Give me the same thing.
Which has kind of been a bit of an issue that people have had with some of the more recent Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. For better and for worse.
But here's the thing that I appreciated a lot about stinking Legends Arceus was the fact that there's 2 main things. One was the boss fights, but that's the size point.
Yeah.
The main thing that I liked about it was the lore bits about it. It was a place you could explore and, go out and say like, hey, there's a temple here. What the hell is a temple doing here? And it's like it's written in stinking unknowns. And like, I know unknowns. That's really nerdy of it, but I know it pays off kind of thing. And you explored the lore of the Pokemon universe right there. And it was a good reason. It really felt like you were in Legends Arceus because you were exploring the legend of Arceus. Mm-hmm. And thinking...
A sick part of me was really wishing that we would find the temples completely intact and then see them degrade rather than, yes, even in the past.
Well, the big one at the top of the mountain, technically.
Yeah.
Technically. I just mean, everyone goes to Indiana Jones and it's like, an ancient temple lost in the jungle. But then even as a kid, I was always like, I would actually like to see this because this was not all jungle. There had to have been a road walking up here before there was this tree right here. I would have liked to see this in its prime. Mm-hmm. And here, we got one, and then everything else is still destroyed. So that way you could say, in modern day, it will be a stone that's like, wasn't there that one statue that everyone had in Diamond with Cynthia's hometown? Mm-hmm. And then that was about it.
Yes, yeah.
But then it's like, okay, there is no temple. It is just the one statue. I would have liked, okay, was that statue in front of a temple? Mm-hmm. And then you find one plaque that may be like... ripped in half. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to have seen that plaque in the front of a building, and then this just naturally there. And then in-game event happens. Then it starts crumbling. Then you could connect, so that's why that broke. Mm-hmm. This is the day it fell apart.
Yeah, like you said, the last temple, the spears, temple spears,
Spear pillars.
Yeah, spear pillars. But yeah, so going forward, I don't think there's going to be another Legends Arceus, but I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do another deep dive into the story of Pokemon kind of thing. True. It's like, hey, the time traveling Pokemon, the onion thing. Celebi. Yeah, it's like when they did that in Soul Silver, that goes like a whole DLC thing of basically go back in time, find out Giovanni's son, so they can go out and beat the past of them, probably do a stupid time paradox. Like that seemed awesome. Just thinking, if you have another reason to explore some of that, I'm down for it.
I don't know if that would be considered a full bootstrap paradox, but I'm sure that.
No, we got bootstraps in Scarlet Violet.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so it's just a whole matter of like, I love it for what it is. I'm not expecting no more. I would appreciate a little taste, but it was fun.
I was just bringing up the point that like, if they ever did do something similar, they would focus more on multiplayer. Just to be like, now that we know how to make a good single player, now we already have the single player in the bag, now we can focus more on the multiplayer aspect if we ever did want to just sit down and say, what if your friends just want to fight each other? This will never be competitive, but what if you just want to throw Pokemon at each other?
True. I kind of think that also might have been nice too, of like multiplayer battles like with the Legends Arceus system, where it's like, cool, let's just battle, because they really simplified. Do you know about like EVs, IVs? Legends Arceus, they just simplified it. They threw that away and said, here, the rocks. Give your Pokemon these rocks. Boost the stats. And we'll show you visually how much it's been boosted.
And it just goes straight out its name. Like, even for Legend Arceus, the boss battles, which were my favorite part, because it's been my dream since, like, Season 1 with Fire Red, that, like, hey, I want to throw hands with the Pokemon. Like, I want to go and punch him.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking, they literally, you have the option of throwing your Pokemon at it.
Yes. Fight it. Oh, yeah. No, I honestly love doing those of, like, never using my Pokemon at all, just me and the big thing.
I'm left.
I'm
left.
I am an adult. I have responsibilities. I have duties. I fail and succeed as I wish.
Duty.
And in that same vein, I am also dumb. And ever since I was a kid, and you hear about the psychic trainer Pokemon who are like literally, I hang out with psychic Pokemon all the time. I know how to use my brain to full capacity and can use telekinesis. We also had martial artist Pokemon trainers, those who open up dojos and say, my spar with my Hitmonchan. And since I found out about that, all I could ever think was, I want my Lucario to teach me Flame Punch, and I want to punch something in the face. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we did get boss fights in Pokemon where we could fight them, and all it is throwing tea bags at them, I kept thinking, I have fighting types. They teach me how to low sweep. They teach me how to false punch. I want to throw hands. I don't want to throw bags of sand. I want to knock someone out.
I'll take that. I don't want it to go that far.
I understand we are a simple 10-year-old child, but that just tells me I have the bravado of a 10-year-old.
You're 15 at Legends Arceus.
I am full of confidence and juice. I want to go.
What do you mean? I'm 200 years old after the time skip.
Does that go in reverse?
Yeah, probably something like
Immortal.
that. I was thinking. No, but yeah, no. It was fun. I never thought that we were going to get a boss rush and stinking Pokemon Masters. I mean, not Pokemon, not Masters, but, you know.
In general.
And yeah, in Arceus. Thinking, but those were fun. Those were hectic. And then it just goes back to the story about, hey, yo, dogs, like, why are these here? He explains it. You get all these characters, and you go like, why do you look so familiar? Oh my god, it's me, you know, kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, it's Mars.
Yeah, it's Marley. It's thinking, I didn't expect to see the ancestor of the goth girl from thinking, you know, and like, sure, wife and everything, but it's like, oh, what the hell are you doing here?
I don't know if they should have gone so heavy on it. Like, I would have them introduce an ancestor who looks exactly nothing like that character, but then introduce their spouse who is where that character design came from. Then you're like, I see it now. Like, going into Volo, imagine you meet Cynthia's great-grandparent, and it's literally just some dork. It's just some dude who you would not expect at all. Then you meet his wife, who is like, this is just Cynthia 200 years ago. Then you're like, oh my god. Well, this could eventually down the line.
It kind of is that.
Kagita down the line.
Yeah, because like, the cowboy guy is the best example of that.
Yes.
The cowboy guy is literally a skinny, just Shota twink. The only thing he has is the little sideburns on the cowboy hat. And I don't think the Cowboys had genetic, that dude. So it's just like, when you see him, he goes, what the hell are you doing here, kind of thing.
I think I recognize you. I like when it's on the nose, because it's like, it's funny, it's goofy, and again, you know, me being, you know, like I said, Star Wars fan, bit of a sucker for the, it's like poetry, they rhyme. Give me that. Because also it kind of, well, you know, with Volo, exactly. They kind of do the, that's how they're able to do a little twist. Because it's like, this guy's following me around. He's helping me out. He looks a little like Cynthia. Oh yeah, I trust this guy. And then it turns out he's probably, potentially not even related to Cynthia at all.
He's just a dude.
And he's the villain. Yeah, he's just a dude. Because then like you said, when you meet Kogita, she's like, that's actually probably the true ancestor. Maybe. The thing is that they do the whole thing where it's like they don't confirm anything. Yeah. And I love the Bulbapedia pages, because it always says, this character bears a striking resemblance to this other character, but the relationship, if any, is unknown. They put that on every ancestor.
Yeah. Like,
you have your excuse. I have Back to the Future, where we just grab the same actor, put in some fresh clothes, and just say, this is your great descendant, or this is your great ancestor. And it's like, I get you. I know finding lookalikes are hard,
Mhm.
but this upsets me of just like you can't get away with this.
No,
it's
it's
just
just
the headcanon was like, oh, the old lady looked like Cynthia and Bulwer just related somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes. But I never, because I never played Diamond and Pearl, it never crossed me the like, it never struck to me that apparently it's a meme among the Pokemon that like Cynthia's like insanely hard. And thinking, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to fight you at some moment. I honestly thought Cynthia was like a gym leader or something. But thinking, it never
Did you
occurred
not fight
to
her
me.
in Black and White?
No, yeah, she came out in I think so, Silver or Black and
Well,
White.
No, she came out.
well, she returns in black and white.
Yeah,
Extra funny.
I fought her.
You never saw the meme of the beach house?
Yeah, I saw the meme with the beach house, but it's just like, oh, you're just the next punk I had to fight, you know? That's thinking.
You fool! You utter buffoon!
Which is why the little the bait and twist that they do at the end when you're fighting Volvo like hit me like a truck. Because I was like, it's Giratina, we're going to fight Giratina. God, he's a little hard. Oh my God, this is difficult. Hey, I did it! What do you mean, stage 2?
8 Pokemon, let's go.
Yeah.
I always love that. And I think that's why Pokemon works as like a starter for RPGs, because no one ever expects the second stage.
Yeah, just the little thing that when it knocks back and you just hear like its eyes go red. It's just like the Goblin Slayer, like this would not stand.
That moment hits so hard. It's perfectly timed with the music too. It's I love just going back and watching people's reactions to it because it's like it's just such a golden moment.
Again, that's why I say it's good, because you play any other game where it's like, I brought the boss down to 50 HP, stage 2 starts, or I did it after 2 hours, I finally brought his HP bar down, reset. Oh no.
Stick it. And even when you kill it and everything, I still like Volvo because he was like, "Where are you going, coward? I'll do it myself if I have." It's like, if Cynthia's anything like that, I like the family a lot better.
Well, again, they're
Yeah.
I don't think they're
Yeah.
But still, so like the imagery is there. I have some questions.
Hit me.
Shoot.
Thank you to our channel members, and I apologize for putting this out a little later.
How long have we been at this?
Huh?
How long?
Oh, like 37 minutes. But I just figured I'd bring up the questions now. Maybe kind of a midway-ish point. But thank you so much. I made a little community post saying, hey, ask us questions. We're talking about Legends Arceus. And I might just do this for next month's also, but we'll talk about when we get there. Only have 2 questions because, again, I put up late notice, and now we'll get into the habit of it being a monthly thing. So, Cheeseburger Lasers asks...
Cheeseburger layers.
Yeah. Do you think that Ray and Akari, or Emmett, ever got to go home after the events of the game? And if so, how?
I'm going to have to say no. I have been living with time travel shows and movies for nearly 30 years on this hell of an earth. And usually whenever you end up back in time and do a lot of big events, a lot of like nicer shows will give you the yes, and then they eventually went back home and left no other impact to it. But unfortunately for here, I think we kind of had a big deal of like having with Giratina and starting up this entire core that will eventually lead into the more modern Pokemon sciences that we have today. So I feel like unfortunately we are still going to be of use. Or I say we, I mean our characters in there. Like, yes, you're the Trailblazer. You did a lot of work to get us all these Pokemon, but there may be further regions in the Sinnoh, so we may need to still stay there and be the explorer. And so I feel like we are going to just still be stuck there. Again, bootstrap of like, this won't change anything. It'll just be that whole, we stay back here, start new lives, maybe make some descendants, then they'll keep the core going all the way up until modern day, where then, you know, we are born, we live our lives until 15, go back, start this all over again. Because otherwise, Arceus would then at some point just have to come to us either after all of this, or at some point in our future where we're adults or elderly, and then say, okay, we're just going to pop you back into modern day, either as you are now, or return you to the age of kids, and then what do? Theoretically, you could be a 40-year-old person in a 15-year-old body, and you're just not going to go back to your regular life.
I feel like the reason they didn't like confirm it, I feel like the reason that the end of the story didn't end with, oh, you go back to your original time period, goodbye, because then it's like, I feel like they wanted to keep you in the past again for all the post-game stuff, for like, you know, shiny hunting more Pokemon, you know, completely 100%ing your Pokédex, and so on. But I think that I've proposed like hey, how about this? How about at the end of the game, Arceus says, hey, you can, I'm gonna let you go back. You interact with the bed, and then that transports you into the future or your present time. And you don't even need to build a whole, like, additional region. Just make, like, one little town in the modern day. By the way, like, in the files of the game, there's a modern day bedroom for the player character that's never used. So that was my suggestion. Give us that bedroom and then, like, a little town. Just a little town you can explore and walk around, and people will be like, oh, hey, did you happen to hear this legend of whatever? And they're kind of just talking about the events of the game. But, like, have a little blocked off area. It's not like you can catch Pokemon in this area. It's not like a full other region in modern day.
It is just there to talk about your exploits and to be your champion slap of, yes, we did this.
Yeah, just a little town to say, like, yes, they did go back to their own time, but they can chat with Arceus and go back to the land of Hisui and keep catching Pokemon, so on and so on. Mm-hmm. I think it's implied. As far as Emmett goes, I feel like they're going to save that for, like, some big thing. There's the whole discussion of when are we going to get remakes or something for, like, Gen 5, Black and White. I think we're off for, I think it's going to be a while. But I believe that they're going to save Emmett for something later. Mm-hmm. Or Ingo, sorry. Why was I saying Emmett?
Like,
Ingo.
Who the hell's Emmett?
You know, sorry. I'm sorry. I was reading the question about Emmett. It's Ingo. Ingo is back in time. Emmett is in the present. Again, the twins.
Okay.
Oh, no, we were talking about twins before the podcast. But I think they're going to save Ingo reuniting with his brother for later. Mm-hmm. And we'll see that eventually.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Actually, if I think about it, there was an example that I think could maybe work. Neither of you have played Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
For some of the deals, obviously for the main storyline there, once you beat the game, you get once you beat the game, do the final quests and everything, the game ends with you getting slides of all the events you've done, like, you saved this town from a water drought, so they actually prospered. This town didn't have a sheriff, so they kind of fell into chaosness. But for the DLCs, the way those worked was because those are side stories you could do at any point between level 1 to level 30. Once you beat those main quests, it will still show you a slide saying, yes, because you improved this person's life, they eventually went on to do greater things. Because you freed this dog from a kennel, they went on to become a guard dog for another town. But then the game kept going on because it's saying, you beat the DLC quest, but you didn't beat the main story. So maybe here they could have done something similar where you beat Volo and you do all the other side stuff you want to. Get the cutscene saying, and then the champion of time eventually was returned through the grace of Arceus into their modern day, retaining their experience, but now going into the future with brightness and a smile, knowing they did so much for history. And then you still played the game still in the past, implying maybe in one in-game year in the past, you eventually go back home, but you're still playing it up until that point. Mm-hmm. That way you get the acknowledgement of you will eventually go back home. You're not going to be stuck here forever. But, while you're still here, may as well do all the end quest things.
Yeah. Okay. What's the name? I was looking back at the scene and everything, and it's like, oh, hey, what's the first thing that Arceus says? Like, yeah, welcome back. I want to see what you look like and everything. Seek out all the Pokemon and thou shalt find me once more. And it's like, I like to think that Arceus is a jerk, but thinking, aside from that, at the very least, he knows his deals, he knows what he's talking about. So it's like, seek out all the Pokemon, essentially catch them all. You gotta catch them all, like the little motto. And then thinking, whatever, like there's 1,000 Pokemon nowadays. But if you do it, then I guess you can fight him once more and then try to go home. But yeah, just basically, what's it called? Legends of Wizards or something? The Switch one. Basically, hey, there's a super OP wizard guy. Turns out that you are him in the past, and you go, in the future, become him and everything. But yeah, it's just gonna be the whole thing of like, you did all this, catch all the Pokemon, Arceus lets you go back home. I don't know what they did to Emmett for the twins and everything. Ingo's the bro.
Yeah, Ingo.
So yeah, I don't know what he told Ingo to do, because it could have been like, Ingo, find all the Pokemon and you can find me. Okay, Arceus, and he lands on his head, amnesia, and then, he doesn't know what to do, so Arceus went like, I let him down gentler this time.
Crap, I need another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
I'll drop him on the beach.
Yeah, exactly, because this one, he dropped him at the mountains. It's canon that he found him in the mountains.
I forgot humans don't have a defense stat. I should have realized.
It goes like, he'll land on his feet, and then goes like, what? And he just hits his head with amnesia, and then he goes like, I have to do it again. So, I don't know if Ingo is going to catch all the Pokemon and go back home. But I really think it's just a Arceus sent you here for one reason. Arceus is gonna send you out. Stinking. If you want to keep your waifu in life in the past, go ahead. I don't know what implications that has for the future, but at least Pokemon Masters is not canon. But
Yeah.
you have all of these
I think
people who are not Brendan and everything.
canon, soft canon, something like that.
It's canon. It's side story canon. It is canon as you want it to be.
For Masters.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Another question from Moth Ballard, who says...
These names are a lot better than mine.
who says, if we get something similar to Team Rainbow Rocket in a future game with returning villains and all, should Volo be included? Or should they keep something more mainline oriented?
Excuse me?
Essentially, like, if they did like a big bad villain reunion, should Volo be there?
No, that's fine. That's why I'm saying my dementia kicks in. I am ancient. I am the oldest of the group, and I am frail, and my bones are made of glass, my paper made of skin, my mind made of mush. But was Volo just straight up evil? Or is that just me wanting, just like, I'm tired of sympathetic villains, I just want a villain to want to kick me off a cliff?
He was, he was egotistical and willing to kill you. So I think we would consider that as a villain.
I guess.
Yeah, sure. Oh, man. Oh, the guy with a god complex who was willing to kill someone else because they were the protagonist instead. Oh, I guess we'll call him a villain.
Yeah, what else would you do?
That's like, it's... Okay, so Team Rainbow Rocket, you know which one that is, right?
Yes.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
You don't like just having all the baddies in there and just not saying they're all working fine?
I feel... I mean, I get why it's there. It's like a fun little thing. Cool fan service thing. But I don't think a lot of them would, like, really work together. I don't think a lot of them would, like, band together that much. I mean, hypothetically, it's, like, a cool idea if we see, like, villains interacting with each other. And that's kind of the cool thing in, say, Pokemon Masters. But, for like maybe and it's fun in Ultra Sun and Moon because, that's already a game with a bunch of portals here and there, a bunch of Ultra Wormholes. So it's like a fun post-game thing. And it worked well for them doing it once. I don't know if they would do it again if it's like basically the same thing. It's like, okay, here, especially, right, because like in Sun and Moon, what happens in Sun and Moon, so obviously they can't work with any of the Gen 7 villains, right? They can't work with Lusamine or Guzma, especially because by the end of the game they're not even villains anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they kind of like repent. You think about it, Gen 8. Then in Gen 8 we get Chairman Rose, who
was doing a quote unquote good thing, but using the wrong methods. And I will not budge on that.
Watch my video.
I did watch your video. I still disagree with you.
But the point is, like, at the end of the day, Rose is like, oh shoot. Well, that didn't work. Here, take me in.
And that's
and he turns himself in. And then Gen 9...
you don't count the two twins with the whack hair?
Swordward Shieldbert? Gunther. As much as I want to beat them up again, I don't want them coming back. No, they don't count as villains either because by the end of it, they get like a slap on the wrist too.
They were committing crime.
They're worse because like they're weird jerks and no one likes them, and then they show up, cause a bunch of trouble, and at the end of it, they're like, oh man, and then they're still allowed to just walk around and attend the tournament. Meanwhile, Rose was like, yeah, I tried to help everyone. It didn't go well. Thank you guys for stopping everything. I'm gonna turn myself into the authorities. Let me step down.
Buy my way out of it a second later.
Well, I mean,
I'm going to date this and say it is 2020.
He understood.
Was it?
He understood. Like Rose understood. Like, oh man, what I did was wrong. I should pay for it.
Yes.
Swordward Shieldbert are like la 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 la.
I'm going to date this video. It is 2024. If you are passively a jerk on the internet, you are a criminal of the highest degree and will be jailed for a lifetime. They were mean to us, defamed us, and committed a crime. Therefore.
Therefore they're villains.
Therefore they're villains.
Run it back for me. So I was thinking Rainbow Rocket or whatever.
Team Rainbow Rocket.
Yeah, it's just basically all the bad guys got together. And
it's the greatest hits of the past.
It's that Giovanni, a version of Giovanni from an alternate universe where he succeeded, where he defeated Red, where he kept Mewtwo. he goes through wormholes and he goes to other realities where every respective villain won. So he gets a Getsus who took over Unova. He gets Maxie and Archie who took over Hoenn. And he gets Lysander who whatever. And so he basically gets versions of the villains who actually won and brings them all together, and then they show up in Alola, causing trouble, this and that.
Marvel's What If it was good.
You see, but it's the whole thing about like, okay, great, yeah, you got all these people. You got, as you were saying, all these narcissistic, egoistic people who have no qualms with killing you, and you're bringing them together to work with you. It's like I don't really buy that. But okay, let's say that they do. I was thinking if we say that we do, and we have this new one that like, hey, Volvo. Unironically, I would love it if he just comes back as just a cloaked figure, and then just like, hey, who's this one guy who's just like shredding everyone? I found Giratina again. Oh my god, he's back.
I would agree with you, were it not for the fact that I feel Getsus already has the outlandish JRPG villain look. He's already a hunched over dude with the whack hair and the cloak. So even already in gremlin form, and then he just stands up straight to reveal like, I am going to beat you with his whole little scepter, is already over the top. I'm the final boss look. So having Volo be a couple feet shorter with like more tamer hair.
Is Volo shorter than Getsus? Volo's pretty tall.
I mean, like, we're 15 and everyone's taller than us, so I don't know what the height comparisons are.
Would you? Because I don't know about you, but I don't see Volvo being in a stinking like over the top JRPG style clothes. I think he's in the goofy leprechaun outfit because that's what I saw him in. Well, I think that's his drip.
He like I said, he literally just has a god complex.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's wearing he's cosplaying as Arceus.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just like, yeah, he just has a little circle thing around him, all gold, all thing, and just goes.
Yeah, Halo.
Aside from that, he was just wearing his work uniform.
That's the thing.
So I feel like if he's walking around, he's back in that work uniform. Or they probably fired him.
Yeah.
Or then again, would he?
He just goes back to work.
He got fired from Amazon, but he cut the uniform.
you beat him at the top of the tower, and he just goes back to delivering to work at the Ginkgo Guild.
You want another berry?
Someone calls him out on it, like, "Hey, aren't you that young guy who tried to destroy the world?" And you go,
"That's a crazy thing about Legends Arceus is that like nobody knows that happened.
Yeah,
it's only you and Volo and Arceus who know. No one saw that happen.
Yeah, that's the more reason. I just want him to be a Majima that just shows up at random times just to show you up in the battle. Like, hey, I got your Tina back, my dude. We're gonna fight again.
It's kind of the same thing as like one thing again, Rainbow Rocket's cool and all, but the thing is that like I don't get why Giovanni's the one who's leading it. It's like I've said it. It's like if you take Kingpin from Daredevil and then you make him the Thanos, the big bad who's doing all these funny time space shenanigans stuff. Volo, I feel like he could be like, if there were to be a thing where we reunite all the villains, I feel like he could be the leader of it because he he takes he's around in the past. I feel oh gosh. So there's a whole lot going on. So Kogita, we have no idea how old she is. She's probably a few hundred years old.
Is that
or 1,000? The white hair,
the Gawker with the black. Okay,
yeah. We don't know a lot about her, but there's a lot that implies that she's very, very old or that she's lived for a long time. Volo doesn't necessarily come... Oh, I can't remember. I don't think Volo comes from... I think he has descends from a similar people she is from or something like that. What I'm saying is that you could totally just have something and say, yeah, Volo just lives for thousands of years.
Well, we have AZ.
We have AZ.
And while AZ's particular circumstance to becoming immortal is extremely rare, it does at least imply that with enough life power, someone could theoretically become pseudo-immortal. Yeah, because he did grow big and then grow old. Unless all of his particular race were already freakishly tall, and then they so happened to become us after a couple generations.
Yeah. So in that...
Meaning that... We could come up with any excuse, and again, if we're doing alternate timelines, we could say one particular instance, he is of descendant of that, so he just happens to live a lot longer down the ages. Or again, because Arceus and Giratina power, if there is power for them, just say, oh, I could just time travel as I will. I eventually figured out about that. If Arceus is the god of creation, time is also a creation, therefore I manipulated time. Or something along those lines, and just have him...
he's... The thing about Volo, too, is that like he's one of the most... well studied, like well learned people in the Pokemon universe, where he knows all the legends and all the myths, and he just so happens to live at the same time as a lot of them happening.
Okay.
So, which is why he's able to be like, yeah, I wrangled Giratina and I told it to like tear holes in, try to tear holes in reality to get to God.
Okay.
So I could imagine him doing whatever else. Like just wandering off, like that's the thing too, is like when you defeat him, he does not say like, "Oh, gee, Willikers, you beat me." Oh no, he hates you. He says, no matter how long it takes, I will. And that's the thing too, is like with every other Pokemon character, they either like ambiguously die, or they're taken in, or like
more often than not, they just kind of realize that what they were doing is wrong, and then or someone, either you stop them and they get jailed, or they stop themselves and are like, what have I done?
Or, they die. Like Lysander and Cyrus, they kind of die.
Lysander, I remember getting crushed.
Yeah.
How did Cyrus go?
Cyrus goes into
Cyrus is like, screw you, I'm in the distortion world, this is gonna be my new world, and he just walks off, and then he's never seen again. So he's in the distortion world, which may or may not just be, you might as well be dead.
He's in the warp.
Yeah.
And the Chaos guys are wondering, do we let him live or do we disassemble him?
Meanwhile, Giovanni runs away. He's the one who's like, how dare you?
Smart.
I'm leaving my son and I'm hiding out.
He goes off, and that's why they're trying to look for him in 2. And then the boss of 2 is just, all right, I guess Giovanni's not coming back.
Yeah, they're like, how could he? How could Senpai not come back?
Yeah.
And then they just kind of move on once, like, we come by and stop them at their tower.
And then Maxie and Archie, they straight up say, oh shoot, that was wrong?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I didn't realize my actions had consequences.
Yeah. Dang.
Cyrus.
I love that one comic of Archie. It's like, oh, this isn't what I wanted. Oh, what did you expect? And he's like, oh, imagining ocean towels.
You're telling me we need the water?
Cyrus Gen 5. Getsus runs away and comes back in the sequel.
No, Getsus gets jailed in the first time and then gets away because of his ninja trio.
Oh, that's right.
And Black and White too. That's why I was worried about Cyrus, because in Diamond and Pearl, didn't he just like, oh, I messed up because we had no distortion world in original Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, but again, like we established, Platinum's the only one that matters.
So Getsus gets caught and then get caught again. Lysander gets blown up in his own base.
Lusamine gets put in a coma,
and then woken up, and then Sunshine 2 Omega.
That
Ultra.
Did you play Ultra Sun and Moon?
I played half of Ultra, but then eventually I was like, this is just the same as regular Sun and Moon.
So that one is another interesting one, which is kind of why. Okay, so that one, Lusamine is not the villain in that game.
I figured,
and it makes sense why they bring Rainbow Rocket into the post game, because kind of the main villain is Necrozma. But it's not necessarily a villain. Well, I don't know. That's a good video idea. But
that's why I'm here. I give you.
But content. Basically, post afterwards, then it's like, okay, well then Gen 8, Rose turns himself in. Gen 9, again, that's another one. Gen 9's an interesting one with its villains.
Which we will get back to at a later point.
Exactly. Tune in. I'm writing the script for it. So
Volo, would you say, is the pure, yes, I am the villain, I am...
Yeah. I just find it funny that, like, hey, for Volvo, he said, I hate you and everything, but you took away my ride, so I'm going to have to walk down the stupid mountain.
Now I'm going to have to walk down these stairs.
Oh, yeah, no, right, we knocked out all of his other Pokemon, so, like, he doesn't have anyone to carry him down.
And Giratina just ran away.
It's like, yeah, can I get a ride down?
I know this is kind of messed up, but if I gave you a couple $100 Poké, could you, like, lend me your Starly or something?
Yeah, no.
It's like,
you have access to your box wherever you are.
Gotta ring up the Ginkgo Guild.
Yeah.
That's why he went back to work. He needed a ride back.
Just again, he just has a Togepi, doesn't he?
Togekiss.
Well, by the end of it.
Yeah, but still.
Togekiss, Arcanine.
That's what I'm saying. He's just a Majima. If you don't know, in Yakuza, just thinking there's a guy who's into you, he's cool and everything.
In Yakuza 1, there's a boss of another gang than yours named Majima, and his whole shtick is, I like fighting you because you're one of the few opponents who actually, like, puts up a challenge. Like, I don't just walk all over you, put up a fight. And so he will fight you, but then he will find any other excuse to fight you. So he'll put himself in the sewer. So when you're walking down the street, he'll like come out of the sewer grate. If you're walking by a trash can, he will have been in the trash can. If you go to like maid parlor, he will pretend to be one of the maids.
And
He somehow knows wherever you are ahead of time, so he will go there preemptively and then disguise himself. So like a cop will stop you and you're like, okay, I've dealt with cops before, gotta get my bribe ready. You turn around, it's just him. Did you steal that uniform? Did you knock at another cop? Don't question it, let's fight.
And that's why I'm thinking that like I was thinking Volvo is just that kind of crazy. He's like he's crazy, and I can respect that in a guy. It's like and it just goes to show that like he would hardcore just be the one to try to put a wrench in your plan anytime, just to mess with you. It's like not to reverse flash levels, but like it's just gonna be there.
Don't even have a reverse flash is enough to scar someone mentally.
Yeah,
this.
But here it's just gonna be like, yeah, I have a Giratina who ran away because he was a little sissy. He's gonna put him back in place, and he's gonna mess with you for the rest of the time. It's like so him coming back to team up with other people, I don't find crazy. But for him to lead it, I'll be like, okay, But I think he's just there in it for the spite,
I think
for the beef.
If we do establish that this is a Volo who won, lost, like that's the thing. If he won, then he would have no reason to ever run Team Rainbow Rocket or any variation of it because if he had won.
Yeah, you're right. If he won, then what? What was his goal? Like, catch Arceus?
Yeah. If his goal had won, it is either I capture Arceus and pull a Cyrus and make the entire world into my image, or I capture Arceus, put myself into Poke Heaven, and declare myself God and let everything run. So there would be no reason for him to ever win. The only reason he would ever do that is if we pull a I lost in this timeline too. We gotta pull a Shredder. When he discovers the timeline, I get into this and realize that no matter what variation I in, and like show footage of a bunch of other people playing Legends Arceus, no matter what happens, no matter what teams I face, whether you're playing regularly or you're cheating, I always lose. And I cannot stand that. So now that I found a way into this multiverse, I am going to pull as many stops and cheat as much as I can to make sure that, at least in this one, I am going to win something. And then that's what you do. Whenever you're doing one quest and if you're doing the Pokemon level because Arceus is supposed to be like a callback to everyone and all the things you love. Imagine playing a new Pokemon game, everything's fine, everything's dandy, and then out of nowhere, okay, I'm going to this one area to find an important NPC. NPC's gone. What happened? Volo. Oh, I'm looking for this one item. Oh, what? Did a Pokemon steal it? No. Did a Pokemon... is it missing? No. What happened? It was taken. Taken by who? Volo.
This guy with really crazy blonde hair.
And then again, you do that like a lot of the steps that like you're doing. Volo has had time to, hey, I know this is the way things go. I'm going to mess up the story and I'm going to interfere. And then it gives you a good challenge of, I really want to just punch Volo in the face of, you built up this antagonist who's messing with the formula. You're messing with...
It was me, Akari. I went back and switched out the Dittos.
All those shinies you would have catched because we now have a 10% chance. It was me. I captured them before you even stepped into the area.
Yeah,
I tore the holes in the fabric of reality, causing Arceus to call you here. And then I followed you, knowing that you would actually get to Arceus, at which point I could follow you. Yeah, exactly. And then, follow through with my plan.
Pull a Cell, and because he's now immortal, have him be like, I knocked out the Volo of this timeline and put him in his house. He's sleeping soundly because of, like, a hypno I put in there. All this time you've been dealing with a nice, innocent Volo who you thought was just like a newbie who you could fight. It was actually a 1,000-year-old Volo who's been secretly planning your downfall this entire time.
Kind of like in the same line, though. Of how like Cynthia comes back in black and white, if it like as like a fun little extra battle, if they want to do something like that, like again, I said like I don't think they're gonna make like Legends Kyurem, but ultimate wish list just might be that make a Legends Kyurem, and then have Volo in it, or like in all honesty, the crazy thing that I would almost really want to say, just make a Legends Arceus sequel. Like, expand into Sinjo or heck Johto, but even keep kind of the same stuff and have it like directly following Legends Arceus and just have Volo again. Dang it! Oh gosh, I'm getting big theories and big ideas. In Masters, Lyra's Signa suit. And you know how it has like those sandals?
Yeah.
The sandals she has are kind of basically the same as Volo's. and she's talking with Cynthia about it at one point, and Cynthia's like, "Oh, hey, I like your outfit." She's like, "Thanks." It's reminiscent of like ancient peoples from Johto, and I don't know how much you know. Like Johto and Sinnoh are like connected.
Yeah.
They're like So in all like big conspiracy. Ultimate wish list. Give me like Legends. Give me like Legends Arceus 2, but hey, make it Johto. But like you could connect those stories so much, and then just have Volo again, and have Volo just come back, and then maybe that's like you defeat him definitively there.
It's gonna be called Prophecies Arceus.
Prophecies Arceus. Oh god.
Yeah, because of again,
Pokemon.
like if Legends is everything that happened in the past, Prophecies is everything that comes in the future, and if this may be the quote unquote future that the Pokemon company decides to go forward with, then yeah you totally can.
Again, I unfortunately like the thing is that like this is all stuff that makes too much sense, so it's like it's not gonna happen.
Maybe not, but it's fun to dream.
It's so
especially
fun.
because if you read a lot into history, a lot of the legends happen because of prophecies. Not only do you have a catchy title for your sequel, because of the prophecies that are being made now, they will eventually become so great they become the legends people talk about. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine like in another 10 years, Pokemon still goes on, so when prophecies comes out, it's like it's still technically a legend. It's still a myth. So it's the thing my older brother and my cousin and their best friends told me about, and I had to go out of my way to dust off a Switch in order to play, to experience what they did. I went to the museum and found out about dinosaurs because I heard they were cool, and I think they're cool. I heard about how cool prophecies and legends were, so I went back to figure out about them, and I think they're pretty rad too.
But yeah, I was thinking
big dream stuff.
That's your answers to will we put Volvo into a what was it, Team Rocket Rainbow?
It's a Rainbow Rocket.
It's just Rainbow. Just put them in Rainbow.
No, Team Rainbow Rocket.
Yeah,
I
don't think he would, but if he did, he would just be the crazy guy who tries to fight you at every time.
I wanted to be the Green Goblin of I don't care about money or power or wealth. I just want to. I don't want to rule the world. I just want to make this teen suffer. Green Goblin, circa 1960 to modern day.
If he catches Giratina again, I think he could rip holes into different things and goes to places. So it's just like, you know.
You really think it'd go back to Giratina? I feel like after the one fit, assuming that we're following Evola who fails, after the Giratina runs away, would he really want to go back and be like, maybe this one?
No, I would hardcore get Giratina back and whip it back into shape and say like, hey, you're a god. How dare you run?
Well, like in that continuity though, the player character catches Giratina afterwards. Okay. So it'd have to be like, fine, I guess I'll find another Pokemon. I guess I'll find another who can hack
a dark ride.
Get some Ultra Beast.
Oh, that too.
There are multiple of them.
I was going to say again do you know about Dark Lugia and the other Dark Pokemon from Coliseum X?
Vaguely. Vaguely.
The Shadow Pokemon?
Yes.
Imagine how cool it'd be to come up with a Shadow Legendary. I was just like, you think, Shadow. You think Shadow Legendary. Everyone thinks, of course, it's just Giratina again. No one thinks I grabbed other legendaries and got Shadow versions of them. So when he pulls out, I'm going to show you my Shadow Legendary. Oh, it's Giratina. Oh, that's a Dialga. Oh, that's a hyper-powered Dialga. Oh, no.
That's how you do it. You do Legends Johto, and then you can have Volo with either Shadow Lugia or Shadow Ho-Oh. And then you defeat them and free them and whatever. Mm-hmm. That's how we do it. And then how we tie it in. Technically, XD Gale of Darkness and Coliseum are canon technically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this is how you solidify it. Do that. Like how honestly, like how Legends Arceus has you pick hey, do you want to fight Origin Palkia or Origin Dialga? Mm-hmm. Just have some kind of quest line like that. Mm-hmm. Fan fiction.
Fiction. So, what's his face?
All the greatest stories in the world started as fanfiction.
But it also goes to go with the whole thing, what could these legendaries actually do versus what are they told to do? Because, I remember you always telling me about the whole thing where, hey, what's his face? If you go to Johto, the Johto Pokédex says, in Sinnoh, they believe that this guy was, the starter of the universe. And sure, we have proof, definitive proof that Arceus could time travel and everything because he took you from the future and shoved you in here. But what could Giratina do? What could Darkrai do? What could all these other do? So
again, that's the idea of legends. You want to see them happen.
You get you're literally surveying everything, writing it down.
Uh-huh.
And then For some of the other stories I read where like we follow bigger characters who go on to create legends, it's always fun seeing how they start off small and then cut to a couple thousand years later and how that impact has either exaggerated or become smaller. Like, I once ripped the back out of, or I once defeated a huge monster and I ripped out its spine. And then it's like, I just beat the big monster. I don't know who said this whole spine. And then you go back to like when that guy did it. I was like, I just defeated a big monster. I mean, I did, eventually carve it to make a cool suit. So I guess, but I never did that personally. I had my tailor do it. Why would I get my hands dirty like that? And then you hear the legend of how it was some big deal. He once drank an entire mead hall out of everything. And it's like, I had like 5 cups. That was more than everyone else because it was strong mead, but I wouldn't say I outdrank the entire town. I just outdrank my buddies.
True. So, y'all have any closing thoughts?
Sorry that this has been disjointed on my part and all of our parts, but this is an appreciation of Arceus, and I think the fun thing for me is that Arceus was really fun, and it got me to think about all the potential things we could want, because, like I said, playing every other Pokemon game has made me kind of wanting of things I could want and things I could see, and then thinking to myself, I'm probably not going to get that, which is why I got Arceus. I wanted to hope and believe that something would be different. And Arceus was everything I could have wanted from a Pokemon game that went slightly different. And that's why I'm excited again, like when I was younger, because I can see the possibilities, I can see the fan fiction, I can see the wish list, and I can honestly go to bed, close my eyes, and say, there is a possibility my wish list will be granted. And in this modern day, I think hope for something as simple as that, or I guess complicated because it's also all complicated, is really nice, and Arceus gave me that hope. And if nothing else, it gave me a fun couple hours and something fun to talk about with my friends.
I just thought it was really cool they brought ninjas back. Like, we always thought Janet and Koga, like, they're OG ninjas, and I always liked them and everything. But here we just had that was a cold entrance where the ramen guy or the poacher guy, whatever he is, he just goes like, let me just drop this smoke bomb. And he gets a stupid ninja trip. I'm like, that was so cool. I was hyped for that moment. That was the best moment.
That was so good.
I was like, oh, you're saying the last ninja, train me. I could do it. Pay me. I could do it.
That's what I'm saying. We're trainers. Someone train us to do... There is a bodybuilder in town, and she offers to teach our Pokemon moves. Teach me the move. Teach me a body slam. Teach me a flaming lariat. Something.
Get the ninja. You can get the ninja outfit.
Yes.
It's cool.
Why do you think I have it on?
Yeah.
Smokescreen is a move a Pokemon can learn. Why can you not just teach me how to make a smoke bomb?
I want my full ninja dark type team. Let's go.
Canonically, Toxic was like the move Toxic. It was like invented by ninjas. Yeah. And then they taught it to their Pokemon.
Really? I didn't know. Okay, that's
something along those lines. Yeah, because Koga says that.
I know that stupid what's the name? All the dark type moves are basically evil type moves in Japan and everything. But again, I just love the fact that like, hey, ninjas, we could play dirty. Let's do it. We could work on it. And in a game where you could actually punch the Pokemon, with the sandbags and everything, it's just like the implications of this. The implications you fought wars against Pokemon with ninja skills is something that just makes you like excited about that. So yeah,
I know. Give me their backstory.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird saying that this is probably one of the most nostalgic games in recent memory because, it just came out. But weirdly enough, people will mention it too. And it's not just nostalgia being like, oh, something that was like years ago. I remember. It's like, no, I guess something is nostalgic if you can remember it or if you can look back on it or something that reminds you of a time when you had like a good fun. And again, 2022, very good year for me. Like I said, personally, I started the year off like, you know what? This is going to be it. This is going to be the big year for me. We're going to make big YouTube moves, and like so much happened for me in that year alone. And Legends Arceus was that moment where it's like, just again, it feels weird and cheesy to say it, but it's like, yeah, it's that video game that really kind of helped me start off the year right and kind of gave me like that positive mindset of just like, hey, this is like kind of a full realization of things. And I always think back to like, I think it was the second trailer for Legends Arceus. Absolutely gorgeous. Just the way it was edited, the way it was like paced, and the music in it too. Phenomenal. So it's, that's basically as all I can say for it. And, even looking back, like, I guess at my own video catalog, I didn't make a lot of videos. about it in the aftermath all that much, because I feel like, yeah, there's things you can talk about and definitely some lore you can dig into, but I feel like if anything, it's just much more of an experience. It's ultimate vibes that you just need to like play for yourself and experience for yourself. And I almost kind of don't even just want another game like it. It's like, I think that was great, and if anything, I'm ready for more different things or like new things or try something else out. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's my thoughts.
It was a love letter to Pokemon.
Yeah,
it was a proof of concept that anything can be possible with this franchise now, and going forward, it's great. My only concern now is, you brought it up, and I wish we didn't touch the subject, Pokemon War. I just saw Saving Private Ryan the other day, and I'm not saying I need a beach scene with all of these Pokemon. I am just saying it would be pretty rad in the worst way possible.
Get down, Gardevoir!
Let me see Floette's death in HD.
Does the Badoom bring it on?
It's just a Bidoof. He knows explode!
But anyway, thank you all for listening. Thank you all again. This is channel members at the moment. Honestly, I just might make this. Maybe I'll make it like some other way that other people can see it. But thank you all. I wanted to do something in the new year. Maybe this group will be back next month, but I don't know. Because again, going back to the old original GatorEX podcast, that one was the same thing where it's like sometimes it's us, sometimes it's me and another pal, sometimes it's a few others of us, and there were a few where it was just me by myself. So we'll see what goes on, but you can definitely expect something else next month. Again, I just really, really wanted to have you guys here because it was really nostalgic, me looking back on those dumb old podcasts, those dumb old videos, and it being a new year, having like that kind of new outlook, or that kind of wanting to refresh things. And again, because genuinely, I think you guys also having Legends Arceus and playing it around the same time as me is one thing that helped it kind of be special, because it kind of, that was the first time in a while where like people I knew in real life were actually playing a Pokemon game around the same time I was.
Right.
And that you could actually like...
Stars aligned.
Yeah, stars aligned. Yeah. Things just worked out. Again, I also attribute it to me like, again, buying the game 3 times. So, you in the comments, go ahead, drop anything you'd like to say about Legends Arceus, your memories, your thoughts, and if you have any questions for next month, again, I don't know what the crew will look like for next month, but there will definitely be something next month. If you got any questions you'd like to hear answered. But anyway, this is Rick. I tripped up. Anyway, this is GatorEX. I'll catch you all later.
Have a good night.